Hello, loves. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this beautiful Blue Flame Members Portal 1010 IO Eclipse Wormhole Oracle Card Transmission. I've been invited to remind us, to remember for us, that though this is being facilitated during the 2023 1010 energies, during that gateway, which is opened on the 10th day of the 10th month, as Pluto slowly starts to come to a stillness, getting ready to turn around and slowly begin forward journeying again in square to Mars, as we prepare to fall into the eclipse wormhole with the Libra new moon on Saturday. These things are all true. Venus has entered Virgo. This is also true. But the frequencies that will be encoded in this transmission do not adhere to our linear timelines. And therefore, whether you are receiving this transmission on the 11th day of the 10th month of 2023, some other point during the 10th month of 2023, or some other month of some other year, the messages encoded within, the codes, the activations, the frequency, the light and the sound are for you in this moment right now. And with that remembering, let's start in with the cards, shall we? For this reading, we will be drawing cards from the Isis Oracle, from the Kali Oracle, and from the Spacious Tarot, both the tarot cards and the, as they call it, the expansion deck, the elemental and other energies. I think I will call it the activation deck instead of, we'll call it the expansion and activation deck of the Spacious Tarot also. It's interesting that I was asked to relay that remembering for us about the space-time bypass that is present in all things, and in these frequency transmissions in particular, because there's so much energy right now in the dark masculine, the divine masculine, with Pluto and Mars in square. Yet when I asked about the decks and the crystals, it was so much of the Ma energy. And in my opening prayer before after I hit record actually, but before I began speaking, it was calling in all of the energies of the Mother, the Divine Feminine, and all of the energies of the Father and the Divine Masculine to flow through and allow their messages to flow through, to share and dance and weave with you in your greatest unfolding. Something about balance, which I suppose makes sense in this Libra season, coming into a unification. I believe we will have 3 cards from the Isis Oracle coming through for us. And we are almost, yes we are. Haha. Life Restored is our first card. Life Restored. It's the Scarab Beetle. Priestess of the Phoenix. Rebirth. There's something really beautiful about that as Pluto is getting ready to turn around again and start moving. I'm also really feeling the magnolia flower that in ancient times, the earliest incarnations of the magnolia flower were pollinated by beetles, not by bees. Isis, goddess of 10,000 names, endless emanations of the priestess. Make sure you can see that. Hecate is also very strong right now. That makes beautiful sense. Oh yes. And of course we get Portal of Light. She glides on wings through time and space. And haven't we been talking about time and space already before any cards were even drawn? Can we feel the symmetry of these 3 cards working together? We have the life and death cycle, the rising and the falling of the phoenix. Here is the rising, which for those of us in the southern hemisphere is actually the season that we entered with this last equinox. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, we are in the falling, the ashen stage. And there's this ask in this moment to look at, to feel into the life restoring qualities of both of these phases, of the ash and of the rebirth. This is part of that 10,000 names, right? Each face of the goddess is a representation of the stages of life, and it is beyond space and time. It is not linear in focus. It's a connection to all of the souls that you have ever been and that you will ever be, because you are gliding on the wings. I'm asked to invite you with eyes open or eyes closed right now to feel those Phoenician wings, those wings of the phoenix, as spectral waves of sound and light, the intertwined mingling of radio waves and light waves and gamma rays and alpha waves and all of this amazing frequency that floats around, that is the waves, like the ocean waves in the space that we call outer, and that we are the surfers. We glide on these wings, on our wings, through all of this energy. And in this time of this part of the year, when the sun is coming closer and closer to the stellar dimension of Arcturus, and in particular in this time in 2023, when the South Node is also there, as we are coming into this eclipse season and the moon will also be there, we have an access point wide open to all of the 10,000 names that are us. For Isis is not alone in endless emanations. We are there with her. She is a representation of our endless emanations. Yes. We journey through the portal of light, and it restores life. I'm asked to give us one more vision before we move on to the next deck, and that is that when we die, when we leave this mortal form, this earthly realm, it is said that we see a light and we journey to it, towards it, and that is where we return back to our soul self, to our non-corporal self. And when we are born, as we emerge out of the perineum, out of the vagina of our mothers, it is a bright light that is the first thing that we see. This is the portal of light that we glide through. All right. What does Kali have to say about all this? Shall we find out? Shall we find out? This is the smaller Kali deck. So it has the image on one side, and then it has the words, a description of the card, and the name of the emanation of Kali on the other side. The way that I will be reading these cards for us, I will place them here with the face of Kali in view, but before I do, I will read what the beautiful priestess Helena Fairchild channeled through about that as she brought this deck into the world. We're almost there. Oi, Sagayana, Chindikiniana. Tapashan Fayatasi, Amagani. There's much light flowing through right now. Visions of blues and purples, pinks and reds and oranges. Oh, yes. This is our first image of Kali. All right. Vishvamata. Although you may be in circumstances that you would prefer not to be in at this time, is that not a beautiful statement of truth in this particular energy we are currently navigating? You are actually in a position of unrealized spiritual power. You will gain benefit from what is transpiring when the relevant learning and personal growth have been acknowledged and integrated. These circumstances will give way to a more favorable situation. And this, going with the Life Restored card, feels absolutely divine. Yes, it does. I love how it looks like there's a crown coming out from the scarab beetles also. We're having 3 Kali cards as well today. Look at that. This is Guayakali. It is time to realize the true nature of certain life circumstances. Be grateful for what you have learned, but see things for what they are rather than what you wish them to be. You shall be able to recognize, process, and prosper from the truth. You do not need to fear the revelations that are unfolding. And of course, this goes with the many emanations of the goddess. And here we can feel that it is not simply the maiden, it is not simply the mother, it is not simply the crone, it is all of life circumstances. It is all of life. It is all of life. It is all of life. And I'm going to share a story that came through with that card in just a moment. Here we go. Beautiful. I've been feeling the magnolia this entire reading, and look at these beautiful eclipse moons that are part of this card also. Nitya Kali. Through journeying within, you will gain energy, insight, and freedom from the constraints of what has been. Allow that which needs to end to do so. Yes, indeed. You shall realize that you are not being denied, but released. There is something new on the horizon for you. Honor your losses, but keep hope in your heart for what is meant to be. That goes with the portal of light is pretty spot on as well, isn't it? So the story, which really feels like it flows with all three of these cards, which each flow in turn so beautifully with one another and with the Isis deck cards that came before, is my sister, who I have talked about quite a bit in our members portal and the various transmissions that I've shared with you all. She has for a very long time believed herself not to be a spiritual person, and I have shared that, well, she just doesn't realize that her spirituality just looks different. It's not religion. Over the last couple of months has been waking up. She's realizing that she has capacities that she did not realize she had. It's been beautiful to witness and to hold space for her awakening in this new way. And one of the things that we were talking about earlier today, is that she had seen a TikTok, an interview with a woman who was giving advice on connecting more fully with your higher self. And that the advice was to learn your body markers, learn what your body's yes is, and learn what your body's no is, and learn what your body's neutral is. And she gave some very detailed descriptions on how to do this. And my sister said, I couldn't help but just be thinking about you the entire time I was watching this, because I know that this is what you do and that it is some of what you teach. And so we were talking about this idea of what is the divine truth, the highest truth, as opposed to the human will, And I was sharing with her that if I feel lost, or if I'm worried that I'm trying to manipulate my body markers because I have a small, I don't like the word small, let me feel, because I have a predetermined idea of what I think the outcome should be. That's a good way to put it. I will pause, I will take a moment, I'll take a few breaths, and I will ask for a reset and I will ask my body, will you show me neutral again? Will you show me neutral again? Will you show me no again? Will you show me no again? Will you show me yes again? Will you show me yes again? And then I'll ask, take me to neutral. Now, what is it that is the truest expression of divine will in this moment for whatever it is that I'm being asked to do? This was true as I was holding Poppy in her transition also. I felt the moment that she left. I felt the moment that she left, and there was a very interesting set of circumstances as she was in my arms and I was easing her soul out of her body, helping her, telling her it was all right, that I loved her, that she was doing great. Because as in birth, in death, we need those reassurances and those rememberings that we are on our path and that we are okay and that those that we love will be okay and that we will always still be there with them. The moment that she left, a raven cawed outside my window and a skateboarder went down the sidewalk. It was these two events that happened simultaneously as I felt her leave, and I felt myself wish that it had not happened yet, because it happened very quickly and before the doctor had actually given her the medicine that would aid in her transition. He had only given her medicine to aid in the pain at that point. And when he came back in, less than 10 minutes after having given her the first medicine, I lifted her up and tried to reposition her so he could give her the next medicine, and he said, stop. And I knew that she was gone, but Hillary, my human beingness, the mother of this beautiful feline who I have journeyed with for the last 12 years, did not want it to be true. So even though I knew it was true, I was trying to make it not true and say, no, we need to give her the next medicine. And he said, wait, stop. And I said, hold her the way you were holding her, cradling her head. And he said, I think she's already gone. And I said, she is. I know she is. But he checked her heartbeat and made sure and everything like that. But this is what this card speaks to. This is what all of these cards speak to, is we are in our human beingness and we are in our divinity. And through these cycles of change, whatever it might be, it can be the big births and the big deaths, or the little seeming ones where we're just making a slight adjustment, a subtle shift of our alignment. We are held, as I was holding Poppy's head, to help us make that transition. And it's also important for us to hold our human beingness, to hold and to not shame, to not judge, to not say, I shouldn't have, I should do all of the things where we belittle ourselves rather than embiggen ourselves. To say, yes, I feel that grief. Yes, I feel that grief of that transition, but I also allow it. I allow the fullness, the full expression of the transition as I allow the full expression of the grief. They are interconnected and inseparable. We cry when a child is born. We cry when a person dies, because they are interconnected. They are connected intrinsically. And that is the truest expression of the current energy that we're navigating, and it is also in many ways the truest expression of what it means to be incarnate on this planet, to have a heart chakra and a physical body. We will always experience the life-death life cycle on this planet because it's part of why this planet exists. It's part of why this planet exists. It is part of why this planet exists. I wonder how many tarot cards we get today. I just heard 4. As I shuffle these cards, I am here to share with us all. Earlier today, is this a card for us? Oh. Earlier today, I was on Instagram and I saw one of those little word search sort of posts where it's like a jumble of a bunch of letters, and it says the first 3 words that you see can be your mantra for October. And I felt inclined to play along. It felt like a powerful little exercise for my break fast exploration. Ooh, I'm just throwing cards all over the place right now. The 3 words that I got, amazing, because they fit so well also with everything that's been coming through here and with the current energy that I am navigating and that we are all together collectively navigating right now with Libra season and the South Node in Libra. The 3 words were connect, miracles, and changes. Connect, miracles, and change. Connect, miracles, and change. Can you think of a better grouping of 3 words to describe where the energies that we're currently navigating? I just thought it was so beautiful, and I share them now with you and ask you. I started making up little songs. Where I sang those 3 words in various formulations. And perhaps one will come out today in this transmission. But I'm hearing more to invite you to make up your own little songs. What do those 3 words mean to you? How do they flow through you? Where do they hit you when you feel that word connect, connection? When you hear that word miracle? When you hear that word change? I can share that where it hits me is, again, a story with Poppy. It's very strong in my being right now, this transition of Poppy's mortal beingness. I can't remember, I think it may have been Thursday, a couple of days ago, and a couple of days after she transitioned. I had this thought move through me of, oh, I think I'm ready to start getting back to normal again. And then I laughed. Then I laughed because I was like, back to normal? What does that even mean? There is no back. There is no back. There is simply moving through the various changes that have occurred and becoming who I am now in this. Having had these interactions, every interaction that we have, as big or seemingly minute as it may be, changes us. Every contact that we have with every single being on this planet, and that includes the small microorganisms and the plants and the animals and the other human beings, and with the signs and the license plates that we come across, and the TV shows and the movies that we watch, and the books that we read, and this frequency transmission that you're currently receiving, every single thing, every crystal that's on this grid cloth, the grid cloth itself, and the arrangement of each of these cards is changing you, as it is changing me, as this interaction between us is changing us both. There is no back to, for it is a constant changing, evolving exploration that we are on. It is the journey of life. And so for me, connection is the miracle of change. And change is the miracle of connection. I watched a movie last night with Mike. It's called Past Lives. It's about two Korean people who are separated by long distances over the course of 20 years, 24 years. And because one of them moves to America and the other stays in Korea. And they reconnect every 12 years and talk about where they are and how their lives have changed through knowing one another and through their separations. And they talk about this Korean word, Inyun, which, if I remember correctly, is spelled I-N-E-N. It may be Y-E-N. But it is the description of a principle that states every interaction that you have, every being that you interact with, even if it's as subtle as you walking by one another on the street and your sleeves brush, is a reminder that you and that being have your souls have interacted before. And if the person in this particular word, at least the way they described it in the movie, the person that you marry, there are 8,000 layers of connection between you, your souls, which I thought was pretty amazing. To think that Mike and I have 8,000 layers of connection between our souls, and that anyone that we marry or that we have a deep relationship with that is similar in context to what we think of as marriage. For deep friendships can have that same resonance. We can feel the miracle of change that is brought through connection and all of these cards, and in that, in Yun, and in each moment of our journey together. All right. I think we're almost there with these shufflings. I got all carried away with my fun stories and get over there. Let's see what we get here. Oh, the Nine of Wands. Can you see that well? Beautiful. Speaking of completion cycles, the Hierophant. Interconnection. Wisdom. The Six of Swords. Asked to get really exacting apparently with my alignments here. Oh, and the Ace of Wands, new beginnings. Lighting a fire. Let's see what we've got here. Oh. Here we can see with the Nine of Wands, bringing us that fiery energy that is our passion, that is our life force. It grows as we allow the weaving within our being of the black and white ray, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It grows and blooms in our heart space. Grows and blooms in our heart space, and it reminds us of all of the lives that we've lived. 9, a number of completion. Bringing us into the 10, which is actually a 5 here with the Hierophant. Yes. A new dawning, though, is what's really being asked for us to see with this card. And as the dawn moves and shifts, swords, which is connected to our mental body, we're asked to remember some aspects of our soul's journey that may be hard to see, but even through it, the light shines. To not lose our light for fear of the dark. To not lose our light for fear of the dark. And as our mental body processes all of this information, to remember that all of those lives are us. All of those lives are us. And as the sun, the light of our attention, melts the snow, we are allowed to feel through the waters of our being the full emotional weight, and through that feeling find within us a new day, and ignite our passions once more. Ignite our passions once more. we stay stuck in this idea, if we, okay, if we don't allow ourselves to see those aspects of ourself that are the darkness, we will never be able to restore. We won't be able to rise again. Let me feel if there's another way that this wants to be expressed. Okay. Being told that the expansion activation cards will be bringing in the next piece of the message before we close. And they will help us as we explore these cycles. It is all about cycles. Can you see? Can you feel? Without death, there is no life. Without life, there is no death. To be born again, to have your life restored, you must first let it go. In all the big and all the little ways. Okay, how many of these are we doing? I'm hearing 3. I like that. Aquarius. Beautiful. Where Pluto's headed. Capricorn. Where Pluto's leaving. Amazing. Oh, Sagittarius. Exploration. This reminds me of the image that I shared with you all in the Walking Each Other Home post recently. That each of us is here to hold one another as we explore our journeys, as we shift from one state of being to another. Look at this beautiful amethyst on this card too. To find the structure, find the beauty in the new forms, in the structures of our being. Even as we allow the new to awaken within us. And we awaken, we find our new structure, our new ground, our new relationship with time and space. We do this through exploration, through learning more about ourselves, about our soul, about our mission, where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. That's why this is a path. And this is the portal of light also. You feel that? It brings in through the journey as we clear the fog away. It brings us into that new beginning. We find that which lights us up, the spark that ignites our passions once again. The spark that ignites our passions once again. Let me feel if there's anything more. Sing your song, my friends. Sing your song. Sing the grief. Sing the joy. Raise your voice in praise to all that is, all that was, and all that ever shall be. Sing in your that I am. Allow your electric light to connect with your body. Call all of the names of your soul into yourself. Let them gather. Let them gather. As you also stay in the ever-present now and feel the full expansion of all that you are connected to. Toda sayana shatayano Ola sayano shanikaliyo Iyanayo shandaziyoliya Goliyayo Goliyo Lord, be I shonda yokta ayon la kami ayon. May all of your deaths and all of your births be magnificent, my loves. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the journey that we share in all the ways that we share it. And I look forward to the next time we are together again. With so much and many loves to you. Always. From, through, and beyond the all dimensions.